Well, hello there. This is Jack, and I'm headed down to Atlantic City today. I'm going to see what March Madness is about in 2021. Hopefully better than it was last year. And just driving down the Atlantic City Expressway right now. I'll switch the camera around a little here. As you can see, cruising along, 76 miles an hour, and the car is doing the driving, not me. That's why I'm able to focus on the video. So one of the things I want to check out today is how the casinos are looking now in 2021, what the crowd looks like, and what it looks like to be a bettor down at March Madness this year. So hopefully you'll come along and join me. So the first stop today is Ocean Casino, home of a William Hill sportsbook. From then I'm going to walk down to the Hard Rock and over to Resorts, which has the DraftKings sportsbook, and we'll see where we go from there. On the ride down, it was actually a few more cars than I'm used to seeing on what would be a Friday afternoon in March, so that's a good sign that it might be a bit busier down here. The New Jersey regulations currently are a 50% occupancy rate, so I don't know if they'll be limiting access into the sports books, but hey, let's go inside and see what it looks like. So here at William Hill Sportsbook at Ocean, it's actually not too crowded. You can see over my shoulder here, fairly light crowd. It's just the afternoon games going on. Flip it around and we can take a look at the scene of what it looks like right now. No line up there at the window. That's nice if you're not a mobile bettor. Plenty of availability to get to the window to make bets. Looks like all the tables are reserved, and it's only reserved seating. But that helps cut down on the crowd a bit. Let's keep moving on. Time to head over to Hard Rock. We're going to take a walk down the boardwalk. It's a bit windy out here today, so hopefully you can hear me. I was kind of surprised it wasn't more crowded there at the William Hill Sportsbook at Ocean. They had it all roped off, so I think there was a lot of people that might have been in the sports book, but because they didn't have a reservation for a table, they didn't even bother kind of going to the ropes and try to stand there and watch some games. So let's go over to Hard Rock. I understand they have some separate seating towards the arena away from the sports book. Maybe it'll be a little more crowded over there. We'll check out what their sports book's looking like. Oddly, I think there's more people at the small, tiny Hard Rock Sportsbook than there was at William Hill, which is a large, expansive book.
Notice there was a $250 max bet on the kiosks there. That's not unusual these days. Anymore, these kiosks have really low limits. I'm gonna walk over and check out the auxiliary sportsbook space that they've set up over near the arena. Nice auxiliary space here. Little pods that you can watch the game at. Definitely a better situation than in the sportsbook itself, although you are limited to just one TV that you have in front of you. But for the most part, looks like a nice little setup here for probably reservations only. The Hard Rock seemed more crowded than it needed to be. There's a lot of people jammed into their small little sportsbook nook with the small TVs all crowded around watching some games. A little more space in the area by the arena, but for the most part, it wasn't the best viewing experience. They could do better, and hopefully they will in time. I expect DraftKings will probably be the most crowded casino sportsbook that we've visited so far. Definitely a bit more crowded over here at DraftKings. Access into the sportsbook itself is sold out. You need a reservation for that. However, there still is a crowd around here. Let's pan around. And there's some promotions over on this side that are getting a lot of action. I think to sign up for a DraftKings account and get $10. That's a horrible deal, but whatever. There are plenty of kiosks open, and for the most part, it is definitely packed.
You cannot record it.
Okay, so I'm outside of resorts now. Got hassled by security a little bit for filming. That's kind of expected, I guess. I don't know. I don't really care that much. So DraftKings was definitely the most crowded sportsbook so far. And I just watched the end of the Ohio State Oral Roberts game. Upset, huge. Any sportsbook in Vegas was probably going bonkers. There was a couple cheers, couple jeers, but it's kind of subdued because it's just not the same with all the restrictions. So there's not much going on in terms of like atmosphere around the sportsbook. There in DraftKings, they won't let you stand outside the sportsbook. You can't get within, I'd say, about 15 feet of the sportsbook, so it kind of cuts down on the amount of excitement there. But otherwise, it was definitely the most crowded of any of them so far. I'm going to walk down to Bally's now, check out the new FanDuel sportsbook down there, and then also go over to the book at Caesars. If you ever come down to Atlantic City, two of the most iconic non-casino places to eat in town are located just across the parking lot from each other. We have the Irish Pub, which has been down here for decades, and right across the empty parking lot is the Piccalilli Pub, which is a great place for wings. And I didn't say these are clean places to eat or places that will be the finest quality of dining experience, but they are iconic, and the food is actually pretty good. So if you're ever in Atlantic City, they're located right off of No, I'm not sure what street. I think St. James, I'm guessing. But anyway, they're both you know, I can't miss. It is St. James Place. That's the street the Irish pub's located on. Okay, headed into Bally's now. Bally's recently changed hands. It was acquired by the Twin River Casino Corporation, who then changed their name to Bally's, which is a pretty bold move considering Bally's has less than stellar reputation here in Atlantic City. However, looks like they're going to do some good things with the property. There's a new FanDuel sportsbook here on the property, and there's also 3 more mobile skins that free up with Bally's. So we're going to see probably more sports betting skins in New Jersey at least. So I'm gonna head on in and check it out. So right when you walk in, there's some FanDuel kiosks there by the door. And there's some carpet pointing you towards the FanDuel Sportsbook. Definitely not too crowded here at the FanDuel Sportsbook. Probably nothing compared to what the Meadowlands FanDuel Sportsbook looks like today. So the FanDuel Sportsbook is pretty functional. Definitely a smaller space, but it is pretty hopping with people. Plenty of places to place a bet. There are many kiosks available, both inside the sportsbook and out. If you come down here for March Madness, I'm not sure you're going to be able to get a seat. Everything looks to be reserved, and they really don't like you just standing around watching the games. So I'm going to see if there's any other place here in Bally's where people are standing watching games, or at least not under reservation, and see what it looks like over at the Book, which is attached to Caesars and is now powered by William Hill. One more look at the FanDuel Sportsbook here at Bally's. So heading down to the William Hill Sportsbook, that's used to be called The Book, and many people think this is The Book at Bally's, but this is technically now Caesars on this side now. And it looks to be pretty busy, definitely more busy than the other William Hill Sportsbook. This is a very nice sportsbook. Large, expansive, plenty of room. Even if it was crowded, it wouldn't look crowded. So I'm here at the William Hill Sportsbook at Caesars, formerly called The Book. This is probably the most happening space here today in Atlantic City. It's pretty crowded. Everything is pretty well distanced. And at the same time, they do have some standing room available to people that want to stand in the background and that don't have reservations, so that's nice. They haven't hassled me about doing some minor filming, so that's nice as well. Definitely the biggest screens, the highest ceiling of any sportsbook in Atlantic City, and it's a pretty nice place. So whatever you may feel about William Hill Sportsbook, it's a pretty good place to watch the games. One of the cool things here at the William Hill Sportsbook at Caesars is the fan caves that they have underneath the big screens. And if you have several friends and you want to all get together and watch a set of games, for instance, March Madness is perfect. Also an NFL Sunday or maybe Masters weekend. They rent these out. You have a minimum food and beverage purchase that you need to do, and then there's a charge on top of that. But if you have several people, they could actually be a fun and affordable way to watch the games in the sportsbook. One interesting thing is the kiosks here at the William Hill Sportsbook at Caesars are actually Caesars branded. They have the Caesars online sportsbook odds, which aren't as extensive as the odds offered at William Hill Sportsbooks. So that's kind of interesting that they would have the different sportsbook back end for their kiosks here compared to the other William Hill Sportsbook over at Ocean. But it is what it is. I think the lines are going to be generally the same. You're just not going to have as much variety. Okay, all finished there at the sportsbooks, the FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's, as well as the book at Caesars, the William Hill Sportsbook there. Definitely two different vibes there. The FanDuel Sportsbook was actually pretty dead. Probably not a lot of people realize that it's open already. Meanwhile, the William Hill Sportsbook at Caesars was pretty active, but still had plenty of space to go around. Seems like that was probably the nicest place to catch the game so far today. I'm going to walk back down the boardwalk, head back to the car, and drive over to Borgata and check out what Borgata's doing.
Okay, wrapping up there from Borgata. I didn't do too much narration there when I was inside. It was a little loud, and there really wasn't much to talk about. The Borgata book is nice. I mean, it's basically a restaurant with a sports book attached to it. So it's kind of treated that way. There wasn't much space to stand around nearby, and you basically had to have a reservation to get a table. So that wraps up here in Atlantic City. So what was the best of the bunch? I have to say the Caesars William Hill book was probably the best place to watch the games and have a good experience without having reservations or tables reserved, or the seats they have there were for sale, but for the most part it was plenty of places there to watch the games, and huge screens, the biggest in town. I didn't go to the Golden Nugget or Harrah's or the Trop. The Trop is yet another William Hill book. Golden Nugget's a real small sports book off to the side, as well as Harrah's is a real small sports book. So I don't think there was anything I'm missing there. One thing that caught me today is that there was not a lot of people in town just for March Madness to watch the games in the sports book. The casinos were packed. It was packed as I've seen them in months. So there's a lot of people in town. However, there's not as many that are actually in the sports book, and the sports books aren't really that welcoming to a big crowd right now. So it's not surprising that there's not a lot of people in there. I didn't see a lot of people in line to make bets. I didn't see a lot of people on their phones making bets either. So it's kind of interesting that there just wasn't the demand for sports betting that we've seen on NFL Sundays or even March Madness in 2019. If you're thinking about coming down to Atlantic City and catching another round of March Madness, or possibly later in the first round, I'd say go for it. It looks like you need reservations just about everywhere you go, though, so keep that in mind and take that into consideration. Okay, I guess that's going to do it for me from Atlantic City. I hope you enjoyed coming along for the ride and going to the various sports books. If you haven't done so already, please think about signing up for unabated.com. That's the new website that I'm putting together along with renowned sports bettor Rufus Peabody. That's going to be all about tools and training and education to make you a sharper sports bettor. And I think you're going to enjoy what you see. We're going to be going into a live beta within the next month and a public beta within a month or so after that, and the full site will be operational by the summer. And I think you're going to like what you find on unabated.com. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead there and sign up for some early access. Until next time, go out there and win some wagers.